Today we're reacting to I made ice cream out of my Christmas tree. Let's watch this video.
And I'm addicted to eating my Christmas tree.
No, Matthew, no!
The video is right behind me.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory, where today you're in for a treat. A treat. Get it? If not, let me explain what's going on here. Almost 3 years ago to the day, I learned that most Christmas trees are edible. They're non-toxic. In other words, eat the pieces and parts of them shouldn't kill you. And that was some great news, since, I don't know about you, but I get kind of sad seeing a bunch of shriveled up evergreens laid out on tree lawns at the end of the holiday season. So I asked myself the question, why just toss them when you can nosh them? And thus started my 3-year personal mission on this channel to figure out a way to eat my Christmas tree. Year one, yeah, we didn't really do a whole lot with that one. I brewed some tea with pine needles, nibbled some tips, gnawed some bark. Didn't really work out all that well.
Oh, it's so good. It's all so delicious.
It's a theory. Well, we had certainly sampled some of the tree. We were a long way from actually doing anything actually edible with it. It was also immediately clear that the hardest part of dealing with this challenge was going to be the main part of the tree, the heartwood or the xylem. You know, the thing that's like 90% of the tree right there. If we were actually going to get away with eating our Christmas tree, we had to figure out a way to, disguise the fact that you were just eating a bunch of wood. That's why I came back stronger in year 2, grinding the entire thing down into sawdust, making Christmas cookies to try and fool Stephanie into eating as much of the tree as possible. That was a bad idea.
Like the first few bites, it was fine. What is this?
No.
Matt, what is this cookie? Getting an uncomfortable feeling in my mouth. It's kind of gritty.
Huh, interesting. It's literal sawdust.
What?
Sure, I'd shown that it could be done. It was just that cookies weren't the right recipe. But now, after taking a year to regroup and giving Stephanie's digestive system an extra year to recover, I think we've done it. I think we've cracked the challenge. I think that this year, we're gonna eat a tree. And not only are we gonna eat that tree, we are going to enjoy it.
It is time for us to complete our trilogy of tree eating. Our trilogy, if you will. So this year we actually came in, did some research, shock of all shock, and tried to figure out ways that we can combat a lot of the challenges that come with eating a tree like this, right? The cellulose, the cell walls, all the things that make this chewy and waxy and unpalatable.
But we're not just eating the wood. We are eating literally every part of that tree. The branches, the needles, the cones, the pollen. All of it disguised into one glorious 3-course meal. Or should I say, a tree-course meal. Man, I'm killing it with the puns today. And because it's the holidays, Steph and I aren't going to be hoarding all this scrumptious spruce to ourselves this year. Oh no, it's the season of giving after all. So we're going to be throwing a little holiday meal for all the brave members of Team Theorist. So today, in honesty, we're answering 2 major questions. 1, can we manage to make a tree that's good enough to eat? And 2, is our team actually going to show up for work after being subjected to this episode? Guess we're gonna find out. Now, obviously, the biggest challenge that we've had in years past has been, actually eating the tree. The needles are waxy, the wood is woody, pulpy. Even if you attempt to eat it, you're just chewing and chewing and chewing. The cellulose is just difficult for our teeth to work through in a palatable way. But this year, Steph and I came prepared with a secret weapon: freeze drying. Why are we doing it? Well, you want my honest answer? I've actually been seeing a lot of shorts from the channel Space Age Snacks. Those
I like
inflated
freeze drying
Oreos that he makes just look delicious. So I designed an episode of the show that allows me to buy a freeze dryer and then use it as a business expense. It's the most honest answer you're gonna get. So with our new addition to the kitchen, we made it a family food science weekend. Well, some foods wound up doing nothing.
Weird.
Ooh, super weird.
Oh, this is not at all what I expected.
Things like gummies blew up into the size of cheese puffs.
Ooh, lime.
Sour warheads became so intensely sour they became literal weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, warheads.
Oh, no.
So what's going on here? Well, you see, freeze drying works via the sublimation of water in the food. In essence, there are 3 stages to the freeze drying process. The first step is freezing. Yeah, it kind of is what it says on the tin. Everything inside the machine is taken to an extremely low temperature, in this case minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which also happens to be minus 40 degrees Celsius. Then, using a vacuum, the freeze dryer lowers the pressure inside the drum, which allows liquids to boil away at lower temperatures. This means that the solid ice can turn into water vapor instantly, completely skipping the entire liquid phase. This is called sublimation. Lastly is the desorption process, which dries out food by raising the temperature slowly and removing the last bits of water left. By removing all the moisture, you actually wind up with a crispy texture, but also get a super concentrated flavor because there's nothing left watering the whole thing down anymore. Hence why the sour flavors of the warheads were so intense. By doing this to all our evergreen branches and needles, we figured we'd be able to get a lot of tree into each of our dishes. Freeze drying tends to make things brittle, getting us past the big hurdle of cellulose that we struggled with the last 2 times that we tried this test. Thus, for our first course, we wanted to keep things simple. Basic crostini topped with needles, branches, pine cone, and pollen. Real sampler platter of all the tastiest parts of a tree.
So we've got our toasted bread, we've got our freeze-dried branches and needles here, which are going to give that evergreeny flavor. But then, to truly incorporate some of the more difficult to use items here, we found that, hey, pine pollen is a thing that exists. Why not throw that in? We haven't done that one yet.
We're gonna have a little sprinkle of pine on top, but to hold everything together, you really need some glue to this dish, which is where our pine cone jelly comes in.
Yeah, historically speaking, and even in year 1, this was the one item of the tree that we didn't have a good solution for. If you catch them early in the year, like in the springtime, the pine cones can actually be barbecued and roasted and eaten almost like an ear of corn. But when you're this late in the year, all you're getting is just a big, woody, cellulosey mess. Like, you can't eat this.
So really, when you have a Christmas tree, you have, by the time we get to December and you are actually using a Christmas tree, which is what the experiment is about, you're not going to be getting those tender little cones, which means you're going to have to do something else to kind of soften things up, which is where our pine cone jelly comes in. While not an American delicacy, in other parts of the world, apparently, this is a thing that exists.
Yeah.
And we have procured some from, I'm going to guess, Russia.
Oh, boy, do we have a spoon.
Oh, you know, smell it. It smells good.
It does smell good.
It looks like cough syrup.
Well, there you go. It looks